Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Loina Mutiga. Karibuni sana. Today we have another interesting vlog, still doing the farming series. We want to see on how do you plant your coffee? What are the steps that you should take? And in which ways are you supposed to plant and take care of your coffee plantations until they grow to the time that you harvest the coffee? Okay, so first of all, once you want to plant coffee, I would recommend you to buy the seedlings from a certified nursery or from a certified nurseries, so that you will be able to know which type of coffee are you planting to your farm and which are the best that you can take to plant so that you can plant in your farm for the greatest harvest, and to also make sure that you're still planting something that you will harvest that has some market. Do not plant the coffee types of coffee that do not have good market. That is why you once you buy in the from a certified nursery, you will be able to get the best seedling, and they will also advise you on which type of coffee is doing currently well or has a good market from where you're living at. Okay, so as always, we always start with the farm preparation. This is how you prepare your farm. Those looking forward to planting coffee, and by the way, coffee has some good money in the market if you do it the right way. And to start with, once you want to plant your coffee, looking at the soil preparation or the farm preparation, coffee plants thrive well in well-drained, fertile soil. Of course, that is why we started by looking at what is the soil, what is your soil pH, what is the type of soil that is in your farm, and I gave you the clear guidelines on how to check on those things. Therefore, now that you know what type of soil you have, what is your soil pH, coffee thrive well in well-drained soil, as I've already said, and the soil should be fertile. If your soil is infertile, it means you will have to apply more manure or more fertilizer compared to the person that is in a well fertile soil. Okay, dig holes that are 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep, or 60 centimeter by 60 centimeter, 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep. Those are the measurements that you are required to take when digging the holes that you will plant your coffee seedling. Spacing, the spacings to be 6 to 10 feet apart, depending on the coffee variety and the growth habits. That is why I started by telling you you need to know which type of coffee you're planting. And therefore, 6 to 10 feet from plantation of the one plantation of your coffee to the next stem of the coffee, they should be 6 to 10 feet apart. Okay, mix topsoil with well rotted manure or coffee pulp and DAP fertilizer before refilling the holes. You have to, that is why I've told you, if you are in an infertile soil, you will require more of this manure and the fertilizers. Those that are in well fertile soil, you require an what can I say, a generous amount that will be fit for the growth of your coffee in your farm. So you will apply the fertilizer before you even plant. That is part of the soil preparation. The timing that is required, because now you see you have dug your holes, you have put in some fertilizer. At what time? Now the person will ask, at what time do I plant? The timing is this: dig holes during the dry weather, at least 3 months before planting to allow them to weather. Okay, you first of all, 3 months, that is when you dig your holes. You fill the holes with the fertilizer and the manure 1 month before planting. It helps the fertilizer to settle with the soil, and the soil will have absorbed the required nutrients. And that is when now you plant your coffee seedling. That is 1 month after you've applied that fertilizer. On to the next step, we look at the planting. How do you plant your coffee? Okay, now after you bought your seedlings, you should carefully remove the seedlings from their bag, spreading the roots well. The seedlings come in a mostly in a black polythene bag. Therefore, you have to remove the seedling carefully from that bag. Ensure that you spread the roots well to avoid, once you, what can I say, once you remove, if you miss on the point of taking care of the roots while you're removing the coffee seedling from the polythene bag, it means once you transplant that seedling, then it will not grow. That is why it is a very key to note on when, how you should carefully remove. That is the most key basic thing when planting coffee. Ensure you carefully remove the seedling from the plastic bag. Taking care of the roots at the most cost. After that, plant the seedling in the holes, ensuring the roots are spread out and the crown is not buried. The crown is the part above the stem. Once you buy the seedling from the nursery, you will realize that you cannot see the roots. The roots are inside the plastic polythene bag. The crown is the one above, the one that is having some sprouting roots. Some sprouting leaves. Ensure when you are transplanting it to the holes, you cover the roots and half of the stem, and ensure you do not cover the crown or the part with the leaves. Okay, backfill with the soil, tapping it down firmly around the base of the plant. After you have planted, you press the soil around the seedling that you have planted. Make sure you press the soil downwards. That is what we are calling a backfill. Okay, the watering. Water gently after planting, ensuring the soil is moist but not waterlogged. Ensure your soil is moist. Do not overwater it. That is why I'm saying you water it gently to ensure that your soil is moist and not waterlogged. The mulching. Consider using mulch to retain the soil moisture and suppress weeds. Mulch around the coffee plant seedling to ensure you retain the moist and avoid some weeds. Some additional tips that I can give you. Coffee plants need partial shade, especially during the hottest parts of the day. Uh, what I'll advise about this is, because you cannot, if you're doing large scale farming of coffee, of course you cannot provide shade to the entire garden or to the entire farm. Ensure you do not plant coffee while you're in very arid areas or areas with a lot of heat. Yeah, your coffee will not do well. So the ones that have some favorable climate, your coffee will do well without requiring you to do the shading. Okay, watering, regularly, especially during dry periods, but avoid overwatering. Dry periods, you see, you can have some dry periods, but you are not in dry areas. When you are not receiving the rainfall, ensure you water the seedlings so that they can grow well. Fertilizing, apply fertilizer as needed, following the recommendations for your specific coffee variety and soil type. You need to know your soil type, you need to know your coffee type that you've planted, and so that you'll apply those fertilizers effectively. To the next point, pest and diseases control. Always observe to check on the pests or the diseases that might be affecting your coffee plantation and take corrective measures. Once you go to the farmer's store, they will be able to advise you on which type of pest you are experiencing and or what type of a disease that is, and they will give you the necessary measures that you should take. Next, weeding. Always ensure that you weed. The greatest enemy of a farmer, we always say, it's the weeds. Ensure your farm is free from weeds. Control planting. If planting on slopes, consider contour planting to prevent soil erosion. Of course, if you're planting in a slopy part, you know how we do the contours so that you coffee help in preventing soil erosion. So if you are in places that experience a lot of soil erosion, you can consider planting coffee as a means of preventing soil erosion. Ground covers, plants ground covers to avoid soil erosion. Also, if you're in areas that experience some soil erosion. Seedling nursery, you can raise seedling in a nursery bed or in plastic bags filled with compost and topsoil. That is not necessary for us since you have opted to the way of buying these seedlings from a certified nursery. Okay, I think that is it. One thing with coffee, I cannot really give you an approximated period of which you will start harvesting your coffee since it takes 3 years for the coffee seedling to mature and start producing the flowers till you harvest. So coffee is a long-term crop. Once you plant it, you will have to give it enough time for its growth till the time you harvest. That's the end of the vlog. Hope you've enjoyed and hope you've learned something. Till we meet in the next one, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, share, hit that notification bell so that each and every time I'll be uploading, you will be notified. Till the next one, bye bye.